Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Israel Brief, brought to you by Lay of the Land. I'm Rolene Marks, coming to you from a very windy and dusty Israel. Yes, the weather is almost as strange as our election results, but just a reminder, if you are watching the Israel Brief, you can view us on our Facebook page at Lottel Site. While you are there, please like us or follow us, and also on our channel at the Israel Brief. Don't forget to click on the red subscribe button. But let's get into it. Let's bypass that dust that is wreaking havoc with everybody's pre-Pesach cleaning, and let's talk election results. At the moment, we are still waiting for a final tally. About 90% of the votes have been cast, and it's very interesting indeed. At the moment, there is no clear majority on who can form a coalition. What is interesting about Israeli politics is that it's not necessarily about the party that wins, it's about who is able to form a coalition. Now, President Rivlin said that he will take his time in inviting those responsible for forming the coalition, whoever they may be, to do that. I think he wants to avoid a situation where we have constant deadlock as much as he, in his mandate, is able to. At the moment, the Netanyahu bloc only has 59 seats. He needs several more to have the clear majority. And the big upset has been the Arab party, Ra'am. It was rumored that they would go with the Netanyahu bloc, but earlier today announced that they would be happy to meet with Yair Lapid, which is the next best performing party, and see what is available there. What is interesting with this election is that even though we only had about 67% voter turnout, is that it seems that people have been voting strategically, and it might be the little parties that their combined effort and where they sit as far as coalition building is that could determine who could be the next Prime Minister. Will Prime Minister Netanyahu retain it, or could it go to Benny Gantz? And what is interesting, and here's where the twist comes in, is that it possibly could. There is still a possibility that we could see the swearing in of a Prime Minister Gantz. This is because if a coalition is not formed and signed in by the 17th of November this year, which is the date that, according to the basic law, which has not been nullified, which is still in effect at the moment, if a coalition does not get signed in, that automatically goes to Benny Gantz. And what has been interesting is that if you believe the polls had Gideon Sa'ar. He was tipped to be the next successor in the Likud after Netanyahu, who broke away to form the New Hope, as well as Naftali Bennett's Yamina party. They didn't perform at the polls as well as the polls predicted, getting less seats than what was initially thought. However, the two parties that have performed better than expected are Avigdor Lieberman's Yisrael Biteinu, which is traditionally seen as appealing to the Russian community, and Benny Gantz's Blue and White. So the man that we thought would be the kingmaker, Naftali Bennett, is actually not the kingmaker. And now the behind-the-scenes horse trading begins as Yair Lapid and Benjamin Netanyahu will frantically reach out to whoever they can to start talking about the possibility of coalition forming. At the moment, because there is no clear majority, members of the Likud faction have been barred from speaking to the media, but the countdown continues, and when we have those final results, we will be sure to let you know. Are you confused? Listen, aren't we all? But this is the wonderful thing about Israeli politics. We're based on proportional representation. Everybody is represented, everybody has a say, and this is the result of that. In other news, the Israeli Air Force have struck targets in Gaza as a result of rockets fired from the Strip into southern Israel yesterday. They landed in empty fields. And in other news, we now look to the Quartet. Yes, we haven't heard that word for a while, as the EU, the UN, the US, and Russia, who make up the Quartet, the Middle East Quartet, they have gathered virtually to discuss ways forward on a possible two-state solution. This was via Zoom yesterday. Missing from those discussions were the very people it affects, Palestinians and Israelis. Meanwhile, China announced earlier today that they have a 5-point plan for a possible two-state solution and will invite delegations from the Palestinians and Israelis to start talking soon. So those are your top stories making headlines in Israel today. And if you are interrupting your frantic pre-Pesach cleaning and you're looking for a quick break, don't forget there is our website at www.layoftheland.online. There is a fantastic article by Justine Freeman that gives an indication of this time, how we're moving out of lockdowns, how we're moving into the Festival of Freedom. It's a wonderful read. It's up on our website, also up on our Facebook page at Lottel's site. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Israel Brief. And if, while you're at it, why not interact with us on Twitter at Lay of the Land 5. So with that, with all this election result excitement, I'm Rolene Marks. This is The Israel Brief. You and I have a date, same time tomorrow.